All right, huddle up, Canada. Golden Sunday in the Golden Horseshoe. Green and gold, black and gold. Winner goes to the Grey Cup game.
Two outstanding quarterbacks going head-to-head in this ball game. For the Edmonton Eskimos, it's Trevor Harris coming off a fantastic performance in the East Semi in Montreal, in which he was 36 of 39. You see his numbers in last year's East Final against Hamilton. On the other side, it's Dane Evans making his first career Canadian Football League start. But the 9-2 record this season bodes very well for the Cats starting QB.
Historic season, first-year head coach Orlando Steinauer, 15-3. Perfect here at Tim Hortons Field. And for Jason Moss, trying to go where no team has gone before, crossing over to another division and making it all the way to the Grey Cup game. And his mantra, why not us? Why not everybody gather around? What a great day. Down to 4. We begin with the Eastern Final here at Tim Hortons Field. The Edmonton Eskimos won the toss. They defer to the second half. They will kick off. Kickoff here in the Eastern Final in the Hammer. Frankie Williams high-stepping up near the 35-yard line and brought down there by Jordan Beaulieu. And Dane Evans, born in Oklahoma, grew up in Texas, will celebrate his 26th birthday on Tuesday. What a way to blow out the candles if he can do it here today.
Yeah, they'd be arriving in Calgary for Grey Cup if Dane Evans is able to get it done here today. 2-0 against these Edmonton Eskimos during the season. Trevor Harris did not play in either of those two games, but Evans averaged over 300 passing yards per game in those two outings.
Passing right away. Floats it out of the backfield. Braylon Addison. First down, first play, Hamilton. Braylon Addison had his coming out party a year ago in the playoffs when Brandon Banks was out of the lineup. Banks is back in. Speedy A, Speedy B.
Yes, sir. Brandon Banks, of course, the East Division most outstanding player this season. He'll be joined at the awards by Chris Van Zyl, the East top offensive lineman. He's at right tackle.
Evans, far side, trying to one-hand it. On that far sideline was Addison. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, defensively for the Edmonton Eskimos, so much of the talk is about their front four. They do it by committee, but Mike Moore led the way in sacks with 9 this season. Terrific linebacking core, includes a couple of former Ticats. Don Unumba, 6 sacks from the linebacking core. And keep an eye on a former Ticat, Josh Johnson, 2 picks last week from his halfback position.
2nd down and 10. Evans with time. Now the pocket closes. He's got to go. And he throws down the near sideline, out of bounds. Eskimos giving chase. Jalen Acklin was one of the intended targets. And a good stop here by the Eskimos to start this ball game will force Lirim Hajrullahu and the Cats to kick.
Just keep an eye on the back end in general here, because this is a play that's created by coverage. The Ticats did a very good job at the line of scrimmage in terms of picking up the twist, picking up the stunts, giving Dane Evans time, but the coverage was so good there was nowhere to go with the ball.
What a great kick. Put it no yards downfield. Mill Smith downfield. Lirim Hajrullahu led the CFL and kicks inside the 10-yard line. 13 on the season. That was a perfect punt. But the Cats were within that 5-yard halo. It'll be a 15-yard penalty. Our referee today is Andre Proulx in the CFL's Eastern Final. That could have been very, very dangerous. They were downfield quickly.
No yards. Hamilton, number 25. 15-yard penalty and a first down.
33-year-old Trevor Harris coming off a masterpiece last week. Back in another Eastern Final, but with a Western team. throwing right away. Quick hitter right away. And the guy he came west with, and ironically could get to the Grey Cup game in the East, Greg Ellingson.
Yeah, a number of guys that have some Eastern playoff experience in this lineup. Among them, C.J. Gable, kind of one of the X factors in this ball game with so much talk about the S passing attack. Also keep an eye on this youngster, second-round pick Kyle Saxelin out of UNLV. Gets his 5th consecutive start at left tackle.
2nd and 3. Harris looks, fires, complete. First down, Edmonton. Tavon Smith hauls it in and silences this crowd.
Right here you'll see Saxelin do a nice job on Julian Hauser at the line of scrimmage. Opens up that passing lane for Trevor Harris to thread the needle to Tavon Smith. Eskimos' first-year receiver playing his first Canadian Football League playoff game.
Iowa Hawkeye out of Toronto. 1st and 10. Eskimos from their 34-yard line. Harris, stutter stepping, dancing in the pocket, and it is picked off. Richard Leonard, first takeaway of the Eastern Final. Last time these teams met, Leonard had an interception for a touchdown. First INT here in the Hammer on Eastern Final Sunday.
We all get a...
The CFL playoffs on TSN are brought to you by Shaw. Speed, coverage, control. Our best Wi-Fi experience. Shaw Blue Curve. Shaw road to the Grey Cup continues today. First takeaway interception credited to Richard Leonard.
As Ricky Collins breaks towards the corner and that ball drifts outside. It looked like Collins lost track of it while Richard Leonard made a great adjustment to the ball in the air.
First running play.
Well, Dane Evans, as we mentioned, 2-0 in the regular season against the Edmonton Eskimos. And you see the overall numbers for him. As I said, over 300 yards a game, completing 3/4 of his passes. 5 touchdown passes versus just 1 interception.
The guy who took over week 6 when Jeremiah Masoli went down, and people around here and maybe in the league thought the sky had fallen when Masoli went out with a torn ACL. Dane has been the great Dane, and that was almost picked back. And Braylon Addison signaling for a flag on 2nd down. A very quick 2 and out. No flag on the play.
Yeah, it looked like he was signaling the sidelines to challenge. Keep an eye on the right side of your screen. Addison, the number 2 receiver, just inside the numbers. Yeah, probably a little bit of a grab there by the defender, Brian Walker, but early to challenge.
But Orlando Steinauer's throwing that yellow challenge flag.
He's got a case.
He's got a case, and if he loses the case, he loses his challenges for the rest of the game. If he wins the case, he still has a challenge in his pocket. Steinauer on challenges this season, very successful. The most successful coach, as a matter of fact. 7 of 8 challenges.
Hamilton is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass. They believe that was defensive pass interference by Edmonton 29.
And a very winnable case this time. We'll put it to the court of CFL command. Step aside and come back to the Hammer. So only a couple minutes into the Eastern Final already. A review. Challenge flag down. Ryan Walker in on this play. Interference or not?
You see that on that curl route. Braylon Addison's trying to work back to his quarterback. And there's just a quick tug on the shoulder from Brian Walker to get a jump.
So here is Andre Preux. The verdict is in.
After review, defensive pass interference. Edmonton number 29. This is a 10-yard penalty and a first down for Hamilton.
So Coach Steinauer could put the flag back, still has a challenge. if he needs it. Most importantly for the Cats, they get a first down right near the midfield stripe. Full house here at Tim Hortons Field, jammed right in. This whole community, this whole city wearing black and gold today. And they reverse it. And Brandon Banks has his first touch of the ball game, and it's another big gainer. A little counter play in the backfield, 16-yard pickup for the East Division most outstanding player.
Keep an eye on the work here of the fullback, Nikola Kalinic. He first chips the end and then is actually going to continue up to get a second block. But getting a piece of that edge defender, clips him inside. That destroys contain for the Edmonton Eskimos, allowing Brandon Banks to use his speed and get to the outside.
First and 10 from the 40. Play action. Evans over the top and almost caught by the aforementioned Kalinic. That would have been acrobatic plus. Don Unumba, the former Ticat, in on the play.
Kalinic releases through the middle of the offensive line, working towards the corner. He's kind of fighting off the defender with his left and only reaches for the ball with his right. Was unable to come up with the highlight reel grab.
York University product out of Toronto. There's Unumba. He and Larry Dean coming over to Edmonton from Hamilton in the offseason. Key second down. Evans batted down. Best second down team in the Canadian Football League. The Hamilton Tiger Cats this season against the team that was best against second down, the Edmonton Eskimos, and this time the Eskimos win. So Lirim Hairelahu comes out, trying to put the Tiger Cats on the board.
We talked about this game off the top as a battle in the trenches. Game to be won at the line of scrimmage. It's not necessarily just about getting to the quarterback for sacks, but as you saw, a pass play disrupted there by the D-line getting hands up.
48-yarder, squeezes it through. Cats with the first shot in this showdown. Strike first.
A successful challenge pays off with 3 points for Orlando Steinauer's Ticats.
A team that had an historic season, 9-0, unblemished, perfect record, never been done before here in Hamilton. And that's kind of how they opened this stadium 5 years ago at Tim Hortons Field. Went on a long winning streak. They, by the way, won their last 6 games in the regular season as well.
Yeah, great momentum for the Tiger Cats. Coming into this one, they feel that the bye week served them well. Good week of practice and ready to go here in the East Final.
Trevor Harris turns and hands it off to the former Hamilton Tiger Cat. C.J. Gable fumbled. Another turnover. Cats have it again. Down the near sideline. And what a start defensively. The former Cat coughs it up. Hamilton will take over. Looks like he wasn't down. Johnny on the spot. Frankie Williams. Cat ball when we come back. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan. Ranked #1 in quality by J.D. Power.
Well, the second turnover of this first quarter created by the Hamilton Ticats D, and it's Dylan Wynn, number 98. Guy whose motor never stops running. In pursuit from his D tackle spot, gets in. The hit on C.J. Gable and pops that ball loose. Frankie Williams with the recovery.
Dane Evans directs traffic again, trying to put more points up. Another audible. They've got to hurry here. Play clock comes down. They get it off. Evans to his left side, and hauling it in again is Brandon Banks, getting half the first down yardage.
A long throw for a short gain. Brandon Banks number 2 receiver out to the wide side. Just gets a good outside release. Defender lets him have that. He takes advantage of the space. Again, DBs have to respect the speed of Brandon Banks so much. They don't want to overplay that first move or initial steps off his release.
2nd and 5. Here comes the blitz. Evans throws. Far sideline. Anthony Coombs brings it inside the 10-yard line, the former Argo. And now the Cats can go 1st and goal after a 20-yard gain. And Evans read the blitz perfectly.
Well, and this is the key. We knew the Edmonton Eskimos wanted to test Dane Evans with pressure. They send some heat on this one, and Dane Evans makes them pay. Great recognition. The ball is out quickly. Anthony Coombs, terrific recognition to get his head around and be ready to set the Ticats up. 1st and goal.
Evans looks slippered and juggling act there. Very close. Jovan Santos Knox pounding the turf. Thought he could have got this on the carom.
Yeah. Keep an eye on Coombs coming from the outside. He's going to work underneath. This is where Dane Evans is looking. But a great switch by Taekwon Glass. They're kind of trying to create a little bit of a rub or a hold on him. But he did a terrific job recognizing what the Ticats were trying to set up. He switches off to take the inside receiver and makes a play on the ball.
Looking to punch it home. Evans, little juke down near the 2. Big play for the Eskimos. Larry Dean, the former Ticat, and now the crowd wants Orlando Steinauer to go after this. Ball's going to be placed, it looks, near the 2-yard line. Will they go or will they kick?
Yeah, they'll go. David Watford comes in, short yardage quarterback, and brings some beefy buddies with him. You know, given the field position, the opportunity here for the Ticats. You play for the touchdown. You look at some of the things they've done offensively throughout this year. Playing it safe isn't really part of the deal.
They spread out some receivers. Cluster formation. Watford trying to go right side, and he's scoring a touchdown. First major of the Eastern Final. And all the points so far off of Edmonton turnovers. Shaky start for the Eskimos.
Well, this is the story. As the Ticats punch it in. Only had 31 yards to go, 5 plays to get it done. David Watford going around the end for the touchdown.
Hairelahu point after, a team that usually goes for 2. Makes it a 2-score game early on. 10-0, 10 points off of 2 Eskimo turnovers past the midway point of this first quarter. Interception from Harris, the fumble by Gable. Now the Eskimos trying to get their feet back into this game.
And here's where it all began. The Hamilton Tiger Cats. Dylan Wynn forces the fumble. Long shot out to the wide side to Brandon Banks. Great recognition of the blitz by Evans to hit Anthony Coombs in the flat. Evans using his legs a little bit. David Watford finishes it off, pushing the Ticat lead to 10-0 here midway through the first quarter.
6 rushing touchdowns for the former Hampton Pirate. That is a job that Dane Evans used to have, by the way. Short yardage guy, and now Dane Evans is QB1 here in Hamilton. These fans loving this start. Lots of football left, though. Critical now for the Eskimos to try to gather some steam. Ice cold start for the Eskimos after they blistered the Alouettes last week early on. Now Jamil Smith follows a block, ripped down near the 30. Well, Trevor Harris did last week in Montreal kind of what he did last year for the Ottawa Red Blacks against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, starting to develop a little bit of a reputation as Mr. East Division playoffs, even when he's playing for a West Division team. This is a look back at his work last year in that 2018 East Final in Ottawa against the Ticats. An absolutely marvelous performance for Trevor Harris, spreading the ball around, boosting his team to an appearance in the Grey Cup.
2 for 3, 1 interception so far. Goes right back to Gable. Last week rolled off 22 straight completions. 92% last week, but look what he's done in his last 3 East playoff starts. Those are astounding numbers.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Trevor Harris, I mean, the Edmonton Eskimos didn't end up as the crossover team on purpose, but given their quarterback, they certainly feel comfortable on this side of the bracket.
They did not have that quarterback for most of the latter part of the season with an arm injury. Back healthy as he showed last week. Now trying to get some momentum. Stays in the pocket, throws and completes up near the 45-yard line. And it's a first down. Taya Jay, another Toronto native, grew up in these parts. Played at the University of Buffalo and is a former Argo.
Yeah, Jay, very reliable receiver, kind of the unsung hero in that receiving corps. Productive player now in his 4th year, green and gold.
1st and 10. RPO, the read pass option to that far side and close to a first down. Going to Shaq Cooper. Utilize Cooper out of the backfield along with C.J. Gable. Gives him this little thunder lightning opportunity between the 2 backs.
Yeah, it has worked out well for the Edmonton Eskimos to be able to get Cooper on the roster here in the playoffs along with Gable.
2nd and inches, they'll move the sticks.
Gives you another personnel package you can use, create some different looks that teams haven't seen in the regular season, particularly in a situation like this where these 2 teams played twice in the latter part of the regular season. You want to make sure that you've got a few new wrinkles ready to go here in such a big game. Now, obviously, you expect to run the ball a little bit more in the playoffs, prepare for the weather, and you want to have some fresh legs.
Shotgun snap on first down. Devoured at the line of scrimmage. Boy, there's some serious beef on both of these lines, offensively, defensively, on both teams.
Well, there certainly is, as you see Dylan Wynn, subject of our pregame feature. And Mark Washington, who's done such a tremendous job in his 1st year with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
2nd down conversion attempt. Harris pulls it back and incomplete. Drive will end here. Way out of field goal range. Have to bring out Hugh O'Neill to punt this ball back to the Cats. Under 3.5 in this opening quarter.
There you'll see the ball just sails outside a little bit. Ellingson starts to bounce it out there. Gets away from Trevor Harris, but an opportunity here nonetheless for the Edmonton Eskimos to try and swing the field if they can get a well-placed punt from Hugh O'Neill, and of course if they can contain the explosive Frankie Williams on the return.
An all-star, a nominee, special teams player. Oh, this is a shank. Terrible kick
and
off the side of the
yards.
Foot. Illegal kick between the 20s. Disastrous start so far for the Edmonton Eskimos. Here in Tiger Town, Steel Town, here in the Hammer. 10-0 hometown Hamilton here in the Eastern Final. On the sidelines is Davis Sanchez. Come in, Davis.
Oh, fellas, I couldn't wait to see what this Eskimo defense and defensive backfield was going to do against this Ticats receiving corps. What they do, they're challenging right away. They're getting down. They're playing press coverage. Last week, you saw a lot of zone blitz, zone pressures from Philip Lawley. It looks like they're coming into this game, guys, with a game plan to say, we're going to come up, we're going to challenge these guys, we're going to get in their face. That's what they decided to do on the other side with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You saw Richard Leonard. He told me we can run with these guys across the board, not just him, all their DBs. You saw him get an interception coming down. This is going to be a battle between these two wide receiver and DBs. I'm loving it down here. Let's go.
Well, right now, the Edmonton Eskimos need to pull a Hamilton Tiger Cat, try to get their defense to turn the tide. They've been swarmed early on. Evans, play action again. Looks deep, launching. Beam for 48 yards from Dane Evans.
Well, this is just a ridiculous pass by Dane Evans. Keep an eye on Braylon Addison. He's the bottom guy, the back man in that cluster. He and Brandon Banks both releasing from the same point. Create a little bit of confusion in that backfield.
First down, Cam Marshall swallowed up. Braylon Addison, though, 1,000 yards season. Big bomb. 286.
And you see Banks took the attention to the sidelines, leaving the free safety Jordan Hoover, the only man going deep with Braylon Addison.
Evans backpedals, goes end zone, and overshoots Luke Tasker. Rare season for number 17, such a dependable receiver. Son of Buffalo Bill great Steve Tasker. No touchdowns for Tasker this season. And again, affected by injury.
Yeah, limited opportunity certainly for Luke Tasker this season, missing a number of games with a nagging hamstring injury, but he seemed to get back in the flow, returning to the lineup late in the season.
Tasker stays in. He's the holder for Hairolahu. Make this a 13-0 game. This one a result of a bad kick by Hugh O'Neill. What a start for the Cats late in the first. 13-0 Hamilton Tiger Cats here at Tim Hortons Field. Orlando Steinauer, a former champion as a player and as a coach, but never as a head coach. Here's Matthew Shinetti.
Well, guys, we talked about messaging yesterday. Jason Moss was talking to us about situational. We are 2 steps from history, he said. Let's win another back-to-back road game. As for Orlando Steinauer, the messaging has been the same all season. Every man, every play, all night long. When speaking to the Ticats throughout this season, they say Orlando Steinauer and the fact that he's had, particularly on someone like Dane Evans, who's been really thrust into this real big spotlight, it's really helped with their preparation. But in particularly Evans, when speaking to him this week, he says, when I listen to Steinauer, I believe everything he says, guys.
Trevor Harris shakes once, goes over the top. Catch made by Tavares Daniels, and Daniels carries a couple bodies. Biggest play so far for Trevor Harris. Despite this start, I think the Edmonton Eskimos are actually pretty fortunate to only be down 13-0.
Well, great response from the Edmonton Eskimos right there, and that includes the youngster at left tackle, Kyle Saxelin, going head-to-head with one of the best pass rushers in the Canadian Football League, in Jagarrett Davis. You see Trevor Harris stepping up. He throws a strike. Tavares Daniels fighting for yards. The Edmonton Eskimos are not going to lay down anytime soon.
Well, they haven't this entire second half of the season. 40. Craig Ellingson, you know he's a big game playoff player. Think about the Eskimos. Great start, 6-3. Trevor Harris gets banged up. They finish the season 2-7. You had a feeling they're not really an 8-10 team, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, when they've got everybody healthy, and particularly when they've got their starting quarterback healthy. This is a system built around Trevor Harris. You know, Logan Kilgore did it did a solid job coming in relief, kind of keeping things afloat as best he could.
Harris out of the backfield. Once again to Ellingson, close to a first down. That's one quarter complete. Cats shutting out the Western Invaders, the Crossovers, 13-0 in the Eastern Final. Hamilton Tiger Cat team in that first quarter, thanks to a couple of turnovers by the Eskimos, could have been much worse than 13-0. The Eskimos a chance to drive and score here, but I think the Eskimos are getting an idea after slicing and dicing Montreal last week how important home field advantage is to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. This crowd is into it, and they looked a little bit shell-shocked by the environment.
Well, this is it. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have been very good, especially at home, at getting ahead of people, getting on top of people early and just burying them. As you said, the environment here, I don't want to call it intimidating in the world of pro football, but you sure know that everything's against you when you step into Tim Hortons Field. Look at this sea of black and gold all around this place today.
Hamilton team 7-2, leading after one. On a third down, Trevor Harris moves the sticks. The Edmonton Eskimos have not been good when trailing this season, including at halftime. They want to keep this game close, get it close. 1-9, trailing at the half. So they've got to start putting some points on the board. They've got to seize some control of this ball game.
Well, this is an important drive. They've started it off well. And now as they find themselves inside that 35-yard line, important for the Eskimos to make the most of it.
Harris. Reed pass option. Oh, nice play by the veteran Calvin McCarty, who scored last week. The longest standing Eskimos been around so long. He's there for their last Grey Cup championship in 2015. And the big back, the burly back, shows some of that soft hands.
Well, soft hands, and watch the balance at the end here. He picks up about an extra 2 or 3 yards after he gets hit.
A little pushback here on 2nd and 2. Not sure that the Eskimos got there, which means it could be another third down play. Let's see where the spot is. And I don't know. Maybe the second effort for Trevor Harris was able to get the first down. They're going to measure. Eskimos haven't had a lot of luck on third downs. In fact, they are last in the CFL. Have been successful once so far today, but have been stopped a number of times this season.
Here's the measurement.
And it's going to be third down again. Bring out the big bodies. Keep Harris in. They'll be going after it again on this drive. Another critical 3rd and 1. Bringing everybody in here, all the big bodies. Who's in the backfield for the push? Mondo.
Great surge. Eskimos leaving absolutely no doubt on that one.
Mondo Sewell, interior defensive lineman, playing refrigerator.
Yeah. Mondo always happy to help out with a little push. Yeah, truthfully, the offensive line did such a terrific job. David Beard, right guard Matt O'Donnell had the Ticats moving even before Sewell got involved.
So 1st and 10. Close to the red zone at 20-yard line. Harris, time, fires again. Daniels can walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Edmonton. And just like that, the Eskimos are right back in the Eastern Final.
Well, we talked about the response on the first play of the drive. It was Tavares Daniels from Trevor Harris who got it started. They finish it the same way. Watch how they block things up at the line of scrimmage here. Terrific job. Natey, slot coming in. He gets pushed back, but he stays on his man, Simone Lawrence, giving Trevor Harris time to deliver the touchdown pass to number 80, Tavares Daniels.
The former Calgary Stampeder. So a late substitution on the point after coming into play. Sean White for the PAT. 32 yards away. Easily done. Suddenly the Eskimos quiet the din in the cat house, thanks to a former Rookie of the Year in the Canadian Football League. And it's 13-7 in the Eastern Final. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos, Tavares Daniels and company, get on the board in a big way. Almost a must on that drive to put points on the board.
Yeah, for a number of reasons. The Eskimos, they won the toss, they deferred. They end up with the win here in the second quarter. Hamilton scored all their points with the wind at their backs. Eskimos need to make the most of their time with the wind to get back in the game. We talked about not wanting to be behind going into the half. But as well as that, just getting some momentum and taking the crowd out of things a little bit here.
Frankie Williams spins up near the 30-yard line. Dane Evans back at it. Flag down on the return. Now leading by 6. As good as the Cats have been, Evans has been below 500 in efficiency.
Yeah, just 4 for 10 thus far, 92 yards through the air for the Hamilton QB.
Offside. Edmonton, number 18. This is a 5-yard penalty. We're going to re-kick.
But those 4 passes were big passes, and those are explosive plays. Hamilton Tiger Cats known for big plays. They're number 1 in the Canadian Football League this season. They have a lot of weapons.
And again, when a team is sending pressure, they're going to expose themselves a little bit on the back end. And so the way you get them out of that pressure package is to make big plays against them. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats have managed to do that a couple of times.
Interesting chess match so far between two coaches to play against each other. Chatted with Jason Moss yesterday about, how many times did Orlando Steinauer get you? And he goes, I can't remember, probably a couple. And then, of course, Jason Moss also got Orlando a couple of times as well.
Yeah, a couple of veteran guys, a couple of former Toronto Argonaut assistant coaches. Part of the staff that also included Winnipeg Blue Bomber head coach Mike O'Shea. So
league right now full of ex-players as head coaches. Later today, it's Winnipeg and Saskatchewan in Regina in the Western Final. Temperature about the same as it is here. Great day for football. Williams brings it up. Better starting point this time. And here he is, Brandon Banks. Christmas for Brandon Banks came a couple of years ago when Santa Claus's name was June Jones.
Yeah, Brandon Banks was a guy who had been labeled as strictly a special teams guy, a return guy. Maybe got him in a couple packages offensively for a couple plays, very specialty type plays a game. June Jones took a look and felt that this guy was their most explosive player and needed to be in more on offense.
Evans on cue. That's what Brandon Banks can do. And imagine had June Jones never said, hey, Speedy B, why don't we try you out doing this in a run and shoot? We may never have been able to see this.
Yeah, well, we talked to Brandon Banks about it yesterday, as he's the East Division nominee for most outstanding player. You know, we said for all of those people that doubted you before, is there an element of I told you so? He said, I can't really say I told you so because I'm not sure that I necessarily expected all of this. He said he believed in his ability to play as a receiver, but never really expected the level of success that he's had.
Evans down that far rail, looking deep. Wow! Catch! Oh, magnificent! Can you believe that catch? Just like that, Speedy B does it again. Outrageous.
Dane Evans used his feet to extend the play, stepping away from Mike Moore. He sees Brandon Banks one-on-one down that sideline and gives him a shot. Banks stays with it, keeps the play alive, and just goes and gets it. Great concentration to haul it in as he goes to the ground, untouched till he's in the end zone. You got yourself a touchdown. By the way, if anybody didn't vote for Brandon Banks as the East Division MOP, you messed up.
You messed up big time. What a play. Speedy B might be MOP. Absolute ecstasy in the end zone. And this Banks, 100% spectacular.
Money in the banks.
Brandon Banks. Now the Eskimos have to bounce back. Jamil Smith with a head shake. Great downfield special teams play. Banks, who is banged up shoulder from last year, didn't get a chance to play. Making up for it so far today. This is the playoff catch of the year so far.
Well, terrific effort again. If Banks is staying on his route, I don't think he even realizes that Dane Evans has sort of been forced out of his rhythm or has to get on the move. He's just running that go route down the sideline. Half a step on Josh Johnson is all he needs. Dane Evans lays it in there beautifully.
31-year-old Banks out of North Carolina. Family up here today. C.J. Gable trying to pound the ground a little bit here. The Eskimos, the balanced attack as well. We saw that last week in Montreal.
And you take a look when you're the Edmonton Eskimos, we talked about those two later season matchups between these two teams. Trevor Harris didn't play, so as Hamilton goes 2-0, you're thinking, yeah, okay, but Edmonton's going to get more out of their offense, fewer turnovers, longer drives. That's going to help out the Edmonton defense a little bit. But the bottom line is, the Edmonton defense, now in 2.5 games basically, has yet to find an answer for Dane Evans, Brandon Banks, and the rest of this Hamilton O.
What you love about the MO of Trevor Harris. Daniels adjusts his shoe. Trevor Harris will not panic. Even though this team right now is down to 13, you saw it already in this ball game. He's been here before, done that, won that. He's not going to stray too far away from what he does best.
Yeah, all kinds of football to be played. Again, Edmonton going to look after protecting Trevor Harris, giving him time, trying to allow him to get the ball out quickly.
Like that to Tavon Smith.
Smith, as you mentioned, Rod, Toronto product, attended Chaminade High School in Toronto, prep school in the U.S. before heading to the University of Iowa. Terrific career there, led him to an opportunity in the National Football League, Indianapolis Colts.
2nd and 4. Standing in, firing over the top. Into traffic, tried to split a seam. Great coverage downfield, targeting Greg Ellingson. Number of cats in the area. They only needed 4. Harris thought he had something with 82.
Yeah, keep an eye on Ellingson working down the seam here. Open for a split second. The time it takes that ball to travel there, Ticat defenders quickly converge on Trevor Harris's go-to guy.
Lethal returner Frankie Williams back near his 30. O'Neill struggled earlier on a kick. This one much better with the wind. Williams, room to roam. Stutter step there up near the 35. A flag down. We'll come back to Hamilton, sort that out. Right now, the Ticats are dominating in the first half of the Eastern Final from Hamilton. There he is, the lightning bolt with a helmet on. Brandon Banks, how do you stop the guy? Why don't we go down to a DB? Davis Sanchez.
Yeah, there's been much conversation about speed and his transformation to being a real receiver. And it's about running these routes, guys. He uses his speed in different gears. And I can't tell you how difficult it is when you're running with a guy and you think he's at top speed, and then he kicks it into another gear. That's what Speedy Banks has been able to do. You see, he said to us yesterday, he only gets to full speed when he has a ball in his hands or the ball's coming. Tremendously difficult for a guy to cover him when you might not have that gear that he does, the extra gear at least.
Well, they ran a wildcat that time with Braylon Addison. That was not a play that Speedy Banks, I thought, would think was coming. Ended up getting the ball, and the Cats suffer a loss here. Brandon Banks also told us yesterday that he learned a little bit about the tempo of a route through another former great Cat receiver.
Yeah, and he joked. He said, the guy that taught me that you don't have to run full speed all the time. He wasn't necessarily that fast, but he certainly knew what he was doing. Andy Fantus helped Brandon Banks a lot in terms of honing his craft as a CFL receiver.
2nd and 15. Eskimos need to stop, and they get one here. And a huge one. First 2 and out for the Tiger Cats of this ball game. And an Edmonton team that forces more 2 and outs than any other are going to need to do more of that. So this kick is going to be against the wind.
Yeah. Well, and this is the discussion. Is do you
take 2?
Yeah.
Or do you give it back and put Edmonton in glorious field position? Jamil Smith, former Ottawa Red Black, near the midfield stripe. No, Hiralahu going to lift it. Smith trying to shoot the gap off his knee, now going back, finding a seam. And this is a great starting point, and that's all because of the defense. Harris back on the field, back in his offense. Coming up, Andrew Harris and the Blue Bombers. Cody Fajardo will start for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Zach Collaros, think about the drama, the storylines. Shaw Road to the Grey Cup. Western Final right after this. 4 to start the day, 2 by the end of the day, partner.
This is what it's all about. Do or die.
And every matchup that exists is such a compelling one. That's why we love this time of year. That's why we love this game. Trevor Harris, high percentage again today, 12 of 15. Double tight end set. Turns and hands it off. CJ Gable going nowhere. This will be a throwing down now for Harris, who has 2 Grey Cup rings, but as a backup. Got to the Grey Cup game last year in Calgary. His Red Blacks lost to the Stampeders. Now an Eskimo trying to get to Calgary. Next week's Grey Cup.
The road goes through Simone Lawrence and the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Simone, the most outstanding defensive player nominee in the East. Here comes the house. There goes the ball. And incomplete.
We talked about this earlier when the Tiger Cats were on offense. When the pressure's coming, first thing is the recognition. Trevor Harris sees it. He knows the ball's got to be out quickly. But then it's that ability under pressure to deliver the ball with accuracy, to execute, and so on. Here you've got the unblocked free safety, Tunde Adeleke, coming up the middle. Trevor Harris has got to get that ball out before Adeleke gets there. And just that pressure, as I said, impacts the throw.
Saw Brandon Banks in the end zone. 2 returns for touchdown this season on missed field goals. But Sean White, spectacular last week, 5 for 5. Great percentage. This is from distance, 49 yards. Looks good, is good. So the Eskimos do get points. Cut the lead in half right now. Veteran Sean White buries one again.
I'll credit both defenses on back-to-back possessions. Edmonton for giving their team the short field and essentially earning them those 3 points, and Hamilton's with a very short field to defend, limiting Edmonton's ability to progress, keeping that to just a field goal for the Esks.
Jeff Reinbold, longtime coach, a former head coach. Mad scientist of the special teams for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Outstanding job done by Coach Reinbold this season. Look at the Ticats return game. Got Frankie Williams as the all-star returner, but as you mentioned, Brandon Banks also with a couple return TDs. Will Likely had one as well.
Frankie Williams awaits the kick from Hugh O'Neill. Looks for a block. And tripped up near the 29-yard line. 5:19 to go before halftime. 10-point Tiger Cat lead.
Well, coming off their first 2-and-out of the ball game, Ticats offensively look for something of a bounce back here. Again, it may not be points, but starting in your own territory, get a couple of first downs, at least run some time off the clock. Make sure you don't let Edmonton close that deficit.
Put it on the ground. Flag down. Braylon Addison gets the touch. Flag was in the backfield.
Holding. Hamilton, number 57.
That's East Division All-Star Brandon Revenberg, Essex, Ontario native. Great season for 57. Penalized this time.
Holding. Hamilton, number 57. This is a 10-yard penalty. We're going to replay first down.
So if the Eskimos play it right here defensively, they could get the ball back in good field position again and make some hay with the win. We'll show blitz now. Evans changed the play. And Larry Dean in the middle. Evans again. Guns far side. Tasker sidesteps one. Dodged another. Past the initial line of scrimmage. A gain of 12 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Again, good recognition and execution. Here you're going to see Luke Tasker. Lines up as the number 3 receiver inside. Cats looking to go tempo a little bit here offensively.
Rushing for Evans. And close to the sideline. Knocked out of bounds. And so again, the Eskimos force back-to-back 2-and-outs.
Well, perhaps starting to find their stride. Tough throw here out to the wide side sideline. Terrific position by Brian Walker to break that one up.
Well, Lirim Hairolahu. Boot this back into the wind. One hopper in front of Smith. Smith goes down at the 43. Ball was out. Hamilton did not get it. They're signaling Edmonton football. Almost muffed that. Let's take a look at the replay.
You could get a tripping call here. That actually is a thing in football, as Malden stuck out the leg on Jamel Smith to bring him down.
You can see Smith was able to pounce back on it. So they'll start near the 44-yard line. Good starting point again for the Eskimos, though. Getting close to the 3-minute warning before halftime to make this very interesting on this drive. Spinning around and giving it back to Daniels, and Tavares Daniels carries a couple bodies near the 7-yard line.
We talked about the Eskimos using their 2 American running backs, C.J. Gable and Shaq Cooper, trying to create a little bit of misdirection on play action there before throwing the hitch to the backside.
Tavares Daniels, 4 catches, 68 yards so far. Guy who knows what it's like to be in the big games. Former Stamp Grey Cup champion, now an Eskimo. Pistol formation on 2nd and 1. Tucking it and taking it is Trevor Harris. Moving the sticks. Clock ticks under 3 minutes. That is the warning on the field. Eskimos driving the football, trying to make it closer, trying to make it more interesting, trying to stay alive. Fight another day next week in the 107th Grey Cup. 3-minute warning in the Eastern Final.
Under 3 minutes to halftime. Coming up the panel with the thoughts on Speedy B and the Ticats offensive scheme. We'll hear from James and Chezzy on the Eskimo secondary. We'll also hear from Cody Fajardo in advance of the West Final, the Riders and the Bombers at the half. Let's go back to Rod and Wayne.
All right, Broderick. Trevor Harris to work his 2.5-minute offense. First and 10. Half the first down yardage. Let's go down quickly to Matthew Shinetti.
Rod, Trevor Harris's preparation started the second he got on the plane from Montreal last week. He watched 5 significant games in which Hamilton starters played. He wanted to be prepared. We hear of that from Jason Moss all the time. And the one thing I have seen, whether the Eskimos have scored or not, if it's been a 2 and out or not, the man who's going to every single one of his teammates and saying it's okay, even to his head coach, is Trevor Harris. Guys?
Well, he is not short of confidence. Guy who prepares every single day, every single moment for moments like this. Play clock comes down to 1 second. Harris on 2nd down, over the top. It is caught down near the 28-yard line, and it is his safety valve, Greg Ellingson. We formed such a great relationship with back in the nation's capital.
Clutch catches. You see a matchup between a couple of great veterans there. Greg Ellingson and Delvin Breaux doing battle. See a little tap of respect.
Great matchup, Cordy. Ellie, as they call him, career began right in this town. Greg Ellingson, former Cat, went to Ottawa. One of the plays of the century for the Red Blacks back in 2015. Then, of course, became a champion with that team, and Trevor Harris got him on the blower during free agent season in the winter.
Yeah, well, those numbers tell you why. Number 82 was Trevor Harris's first phone call when he figured out he was on his way from Ottawa to Edmonton. There's one guy he wanted with him. That was the guy.
It's kind of like a Kawhi Leonard call to Paul George, wasn't it? Looking to become champions in Edmonton. Now Harris dancing in the pocket, decides to go again, and Trevor Harris takes a shot downfield. This may require a measurement close to a first down again, and Trevor Harris, who doesn't do a lot of this.
Yeah, outside of short yardage, you know, Trevor Harris had 48 carries during the regular season, and again, a lot of those in short yardage situations. Got to gets to playoffs and whatever it takes.
2nd and 1, and again, this may require a measurement. I'm not sure he got to the first down marker. 7 carries, 25 yards for Harris. His mom came with him to the interviews yesterday and helped him with his tap dancing. She's a tap dancing instructor in Waldo, Ohio. This is a guy who'll do anything. Did some boxercise. I'd say the tap dancing's kind of helped with the mobility.
Yeah, the footwork looked pretty good on that one.
So they do move the sticks. Red zone time inside the 20-yard line. Eskimos haven't been too proficient in this area this season. A lot of drives stalling, settling for field goals. Flag in the end zone deep. Are they counting up here?
There is no infraction on the play. Edmonton has called timeout prior to the flag being thrown.
Trevor Harris called the timeout, or the sideline called timeout. Reset the clock.
That's it, avoiding the time count.
Jason Moss said something to us yesterday I thought was very interesting. Under this "why not us" motto that they have devised, first to the cup, no crossover team has ever made it, but he had kind of an Eastern mentality about this path that they are on.
Yeah, and he talked about his team's record over the last few years, particularly playing in the East, but looking at his overall record and kind of saying, okay, well, look at where we would have ranked in the East, and saying, well, we'd be a pretty good Eastern team, basically, is the gist of it for Jason Moss. You know, they would have had home playoff games and would have had byes. So why not believe that in playing in the East they could get to the big game?
Harris pitching it out on 1st and 10 to Daniels. Now, would that be delicious irony, I suppose, should they become Eastern Division champions and go to Calgary to play for the Grey Cup? Oh, by the way, didn't the Stampeders play for the Grey Cup in Edmonton last year?
Yeah, looking for a little bit of payback, but aside from that, considering that if Edmonton were to be there representing the East against whoever wins the West, it's going to be someone that's actually east of Edmonton.
8th play of the drive. Harris holds it back. Frankie Williams knocked down. Big defensive play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Has to bring out the Eskimo kick team once more.
Frankie Williams set a Ticats club record this season with 14 pass knockdowns. Maybe saving his biggest for today's East final.
So the dependable right foot of the veteran Sean White, all-time percentage leader right now in the CFL record books. 34-year-old out of White Rock, BC, Logan Kilgore the hold, White the kick. One possession ball game. Final 30 seconds before halftime. The second quarter of the Eastern Final is brought to you by BDC, the only bank 100% for entrepreneurs. Great scene here in Hamilton. City, long suffering, trying to get back to win a Grey Cup. 1999, the last time the Cats won the Cup. Last time they were in the Cup, 2014. Second of back-to-back years. 2014 was heartbreaking for the folks in Hamilton.
Well, it certainly was a game that they thought they had won on a late game return by Brandon Banks.
Evans brings the blitz once more and floats it out, but incomplete, looking for the aforementioned Banks.
A big second quarter defensively for the Edmonton Eskimos. They gave up the one touchdown to Brandon Banks, and that was a pretty good drive, but the Eskimos have shut the Cats right down other than that.
Made it a lot quieter from the beginning of this ball game. Hamilton just 77 total yards second quarter. Evans slinging over the top down near the 42 for Anthony Coombs. Another explosive play.
Yeah, Coombs, the number 3 receiver, right down the middle of the field. Completely overlooked by the defense, clearly a bust on the back end.
Now in scoring position. That's in range for Lirim Hajrullahu. First catch for Luke Tasker. And not a high completion percentage for Dane Evans, but big play so far, the difference in the ball game. Here's Lirim Hajrullahu. We're up in St. Catharines. It is university ball at Western in London, Ontario.
Good school.
Thought you'd have a little something to say about that. Evans over to Jalen Acklin, a rookie this year. 12 seconds remain. Speaking of schools, congratulations to the Calgary Dinos. Montreal Carabin will meet in the 55th Vanier Cup in Quebec City next weekend.
Yeah, fantastic matchup.
2nd and 5. Want to take a shot at the end zone here?
Maybe one.
Evans swarmed and sacked. Josh Johnson, last week's star with 3 interceptions against the Alouettes, gets home here on Dane Evans.
Well, some success from the pressure package here. Braylon Addison is in the protection, but maybe a little miscommunication there as Addison is going to stay in on the left. You'll see Johnson, the free man, comes from the right. They just didn't get the protection adjusted. Brandon Banks, by the way, looked like he was on a very similar route to the one on which he scored his touchdown earlier in this quarter.
Last play, first half. Hajrullahu restores the 10-point lead. Zeros on the clock. 2-score ball game. The hometown Cats 30 minutes away from a trip to the Grey Cup. But Rod Smith, it's still anybody's Eastern final.
10-point lead. What is the mindset? Because it looks like the Edmonton Eskimos are not going away.
They're a good team. They're a second half team also, so we got to put an emphasis on stopping them and put more points on the board.
Knowing what is at stake, what is going through your mind when you're making that 47-yard reception for that touchdown?
Do whatever it takes to catch the ball. Don't let them catch it.
Where does that rank in all your catches that you've had as a Ticat?
Definitely top 3.
Thanks, Brandon.
Halftime show brought to you by the Ram Heavy Duty, the most capable Ram Heavy Duty pickup ever. Always ready for the second half, and you know what? We are too.
For the second half, trying to hammer down a spot in the Grey Cup. Cats lead 23-13. The Eskimos trying to be the first ever crossover team to make it to the Grey Cup game. Here's their quarterback, Trevor Harris, with Matthew Shinetti.
Trevor, I've watched you talk to each of your teammates and coaches. We're going to be okay, you said, in between series. So what's the mentality that you had in the locker room coming out now?
Stick with the plan. Don't flinch, man. It's our time. We got 30 minutes to go to the show, and we're going to put it all out there. Empty your tank, man.
We've seen you drive down the field. What do you see right now? We've seen you drive down the field. What do you see right now that you can exploit in Hamilton's defense?
We're just trying to trust our game plan, man. They're a great defense, but we're a great offense, and so just kind of a battle of wits, man. We got to go out there and let it fly.
Thanks, Trevor.
Yep.
So the Eskimos, there has been an issue this season trying to finish drives, and you wonder if those field goals catch up to them in the grand scheme of things. You've got to find the house here.
Yeah, I suspect that both teams might be feeling a little nervous about missed opportunities right now.
So the Eskimos, who won the toss, deferred, are going to take the wind here in the third quarter. Try to get some momentum. Jamil Smith, starting point around the 33-yard line. No time like right now. Use this wind, trying to get back in this thing and get a lead heading to the fourth.
Oh, look at the work of Trevor Harris in the first half of this ball game. You saw using his legs a little bit to extend plays. That never quit attitude of the Edmonton Eskimos. One thing these two teams certainly have in common is a deep belief.
That has been a theme. The believers. Ellingson far side. So we saw this last week as well in Montreal in the Eastern semifinal, taking the wind in the third quarter. Again, it's a two-possession game, but the way the wind is picking up here later in the day, it could become an issue. Should this game get close? Should it come on the toes of the kickers in the fourth? We shall see. Starting to blow now.
Yes, many storylines to watch.
2nd and 2. One thing we really haven't seen much of is much push on the ground game so far. Both lines taking that out of play as former Cat C.J. Gable does get the first down.
C.J. Gable again, potential to be a bit of an X factor in this football game as so much of the attention goes to Trevor Harris in that passing game, particularly coming off his performance last week in Montreal. But
double tight ends have the option coming, and going to be stopped for a loss is Gable. Play got derailed early on.
It certainly did. Gable on the swing route was really a check down. By the time Harris got to him, so too did the Tiger Cat defense.
Almost looked like Trevor Harris didn't know what to do here. Rather go, wait. There it is. So a key second down coming up here. Loss of 4. Might he look to Ellingson? And indeed he does. Lunging Craig Ellingson, and there is veteran moxie right there, knowing where the yard marker was, knowing where the first down was, and Ellingson reaches for that for a 15-yard pickup.
Keep an eye on Greg Ellingson. He lines up. He's going to be tight to the formation on the end here, and basically what he's going to do is bump the end in and then release to the flat. He kind of gets forgotten in the coverage as he gets involved in the blocking screen briefly.
Double tight end set again. Swinging it out again. Daniels pushed back by Tunde Adeleke.
Meeting of former Calgary Stampeder teammates there. Tavares Daniels, Tunde Adeleke, the Hamilton free safety, a first-time All-Star this year. Doing a great job to wrap up and make the play.
Adeleke, born in Lagos, Nigeria. Grew up in the nation's capital, played at Carleton. As Dwayne mentioned, a stamp with Tavares Daniels and a Grey Cup champ last year. Different teams this year. 2nd down and 6. Blitz coming. Harris throwing, and big overthrow that time. And Trevor Harris looking for a call here on a flag, perhaps, but no. And might there be a challenge? Let's take a look. Looks like the kick team is coming out looking for Ellingson. Oh, maybe.
Contact initially, maybe a brief grab. Have to take a look at exactly where they were relative to the line of scrimmage, see if he was within 5, but
no challenge. Play for field position here. 3rd and 6. O'Neill trying to coffin corner this. Good kick. Now weaving out of the 10-yard area. Coming up is Frankie Williams. 23-13 Cats in the Eastern Final.
The third quarter is brought to you by Real Canadian Superstore. Shop like a mother.
Great day for football. Late November, a week away from the gray. Former Cat Larry Dean pumped up, wired up. His team down 10. Dane Evans with the ball. Chucking it out. Jalen Ackland has his first catch of the Eastern Final.
well, Dane Evans engineered his share of big plays in the first half of this football game, including that one to Braylon Addison. A couple of strikes to Brandon Banks, including that one for the touchdown. Big one to Anthony Coombs near the end of the first half to set up a field goal.
Play action once more. Now the check down and knocked down near the 42. Cameron Marshall. Marshall started the season injured, ended the season with a bunch of games missing, and injuries a factor. Certainly a quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Who would have thought that Dane Evans would be the starting quarterback into the playoffs, especially after the season that this guy had last year and the start he had this year, Jeremiah Masoli. He has been a big confidant, though. Helped out Dane Evans a lot as they go over the top, and Braylon Addison plays Mark McCoy on the sideline. High hurdles the signage. Alley-oop rainbow toss from Dane Evans to Braylon Addison.
Braylon Addison, my favorite perhaps of the Canadian Football League's Swiss Army knife type players. Versatile weapon, overshadowed a little bit by Brandon Banks, but a guy who had a remarkable season himself. You see Jeremiah Masoli. Just think, how about the legacy of June Jones? Made Jeremiah Masoli the starting quarterback, turned Brandon Banks into a starting receiver. Back-to-back East Division MOPs.
Not Braylon Addison involved. Evans again, gunning in traffic. Picked off on the far sideline by Taekwon Glass. Flag down. And an enormous takeaway by the Edmonton Eskimos. First turnover by the Cats. Could be a huge one, just when Hamilton was threatening. Taekwon Glass, INT.
Anthony Coombs, the intended receiver on the plays, using him out of the backfield as a receiver, trying to create a few mismatches, has been part of one of the new wrinkles brought in for this week by offensive coordinator Tommy Condell. Taekwon Glass just holds his ground, holds his position, goes over top of Coombs to come down with that football. The flag for an illegal block on Javon Santos. Knox got Coombs in the back on the interception return. And Eskimos take over possession, albeit deep in their own territory.
Yeah, long field now. First play, line play. And now a critical play. And this might not work out that bad for the Cats. Simone Lawrence getting the crowd pumped up. Taekwon Glass, part of that shuffle in the secondary for the Eskimos, missing a couple of key players.
Yeah, Taekwon Glass, former Montreal Alouette.
So now the Eskimos have to get a first down. They might be giving up 2 more. And on the first pitch, Ricky Collins. Did he make the catch? There's no signal. Looks like it's incomplete. And now the Eskimos are going to have to kick from their end zone, likely going to give up 2 here, even with the wind. Oh, Collins did not secure.
Unable to hang on. Delicae, the free safety on the coverage to Garrett Davis. He's applying the pressure on Trevor Harris. Nonetheless, Harris gets the throw right on the money.
O'Neill takes the knee, gives up the deuce. The safety. 25-13 now. Time critical for the Eskimos in this quarter with the wind. Welcome back to Hamilton. Side of one half of the Final Four today. Eastern Final. 25-13 now for the hometown Cats. Trying to secure a berth in the Grey Cup next week in Calgary. The safety adding 2 to the score, and so they'll get the ball back. Hugh O'Neill kicking from his 25. Trying to pound this deep. Now Frankie Williams. Looking for a seam. Williams carries a couple bodies up near the 38. Let's go down to Davis Sanchez.
Yeah, guys, you saw Speedy be upset after he came off the field, thinking he could have made a play there, but the quarterback, Dane Evans, told him, that one's on me. And as we get into a 2-possession game midway through the 3rd quarter here, that gunslinger that we always hear about, Dane Evans, possessions, points at a premium. You have to reel that in a little bit, because Trevor Harris certainly will. He's been in these positions.
Yeah, good point. Davis.
I think particularly here in the 3rd quarter for Hamilton, a little bit of ball control, right? Eat up Edmonton's time with the wind at their backs. It's so critical.
Just like that, Cam Marshall.
Yeah, get Marshall involved. Keep the ball on the ground a little bit more than they have to this point in the game. Stay high percentage. I know that the Ticats are a big play team, but I think Davis is bang on. It's not about playing it safe, but to me right now, it's a little bit of the strategy for the 3rd quarter.
Marshall, who got banged up this season, so happy to be back. There was some thought that Tyrell Sutton would start today, but they went with Marshall, who had the job at the beginning of the season, former Rough Rider and Blue Bomber. Mondo was down. Mondo Sewell, one of the best interior linemen in the country. Looks like he's going to have to hobble off.
Yeah, with assistants out there, that'll take him out for at least 3 plays. Kendall Vickers should be into that interior defensive line in his place.
Both lines so adept this season. But the Eskimos first, tied for first with Saskatchewan, with sacks this season. Today. That is a first down. Marshall again, the former Arizona State Sun Devil. Near the midfield stripe, the 55-yard line.
Yeah, Cameron Marshall, he's been productive for the Tiger Cats when he's played this season, but as you mentioned earlier, Rod, he's battled injuries a little bit himself.
In stride, catching Braylon Anderson for another first down. Going to work. Just the one blemish in this ball game, that pick. As it turned out, still turned into 2 points.
Yeah, I love the play call. Hit Edmonton with a couple of run plays to Cameron Marshall and come back with the play action. A high percentage hitch screen to Addison.
Addison over 100 yards. As he did a year ago in the playoffs. Here comes a blitz. Evans escapes. knocks it away. Pressure on that time. Key second down coming. Time ticking down to 6 minutes. The Eskimos know they have to get some points with the wind here. You know that this is a critical second down if they can hold Hamilton to a field goal. I have a feeling that the Ticats are kind of one big play away from maybe breaking this thing open.
Unable to fully grab momentum here, but you don't want it to be more than a 2-possession game at this stage when you're Edmonton.
Lots of room now for Addison behind a couple blocks. Down near that first down marker again. Perfectly deployed that screen as they sent 4 receivers to the field side. Came back to the boundary.
Watch how Addison sets up his blocks here, though. Kind of delays, lets Filer and Revenberg get out in front. Clear things out for him.
First down near the 26. Dane Evans. About to turn 26 on Tuesday. The son of a longtime high school football coach in Texas. Trying to get his team to the Grey Cup. Looking end zone. Has his man, and
Wind took it.
At the last moment, the wind got it. Right you are. Looking again for Banks.
Yeah, credit the wind with the knockdown on that one.
Jordan Hoover, the free safety, and company in on coverage. Banks was open for a split second.
Yeah, here you see the little change of pace that Davis talked about in the first half.
Under 5 to play, third quarter. Eastern final. Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and Regina in the West final after this. Sends out 4 to the right. Goes there. In traffic. Unable to hang on was Tasker. That means third down, and that means a field goal attempt again from Lirim Hajrullahu, who has been so dependable through the years in big games, including a Grey Cup for the Toronto Argos a couple of seasons ago in Ottawa.
Ironically, given the year they had in Toronto, a number of 2017 Grey Cup champions from down the highway.
Yes, indeed.
Wearing black and gold this year.
Hajrullahu has been perfect today. This from the 34. Tasker the hold. Hajrullahu, the kick. Whips it through. 28-13 the score. And Dane Evans is pops in the crowd tonight. Coach Damon Evans will chat with him from Hamilton in a moment. Under the heading, who would have thought Dane Evans ever would have been the starting quarterback in the Eastern Final? He's leading right now, and his parents are here in the crowd with Matthew Shinetti.
Rod, it's really something to sit next to parents of a starting quarterback to kind of feel their emotions, watch the game with them alongside Damon, Coach Damon Evans, and Kathy. I want to go to you first, Coach, about watching your son, assessing him, and how do you take this as a parent, knowing the scope of the game, and are you kind of watching as a coach or watching as a parent?
Well, it's kind of difficult. You know, I'm watching as a parent. I'm all tied up in nerves, you know, and I'm clenching my fist. But you know, every throw he makes and all the situations, you know, I still assessing that as a coach. You know, I'm looking at which hash we need to have the ball on. You know, where's the blitz coming from? You know, all those things. I'm still seeing that, but I try to let those guys coach them, and I'm just here to watch as a dad, you know.
And Kathy, just the emotions of this place. How much have you enjoyed just the way this city has embraced Dane?
It's been wonderful. I mean, just a minute ago, you heard the stands, everyone singing, everybody into it. All the players talk about how much they feed off the fans, and I think they love it, and they're a big part of the team.
Thank you guys for this, and very quickly, okay, how has Dane been able to embrace this moment?
You know, he's real even-centered, even-keeled, and he hasn't shown me any nervousness. I know that it's got to be there, you know, but he just stays in his routine. He has a routine starting 2-3 nights before the game, and you know his study routine, preparation routine. Last night when we got in, you know, he went off and did his own routine, and so I think the routine that he abides by religiously, and he's real good at
illegal contact and routine.
you know, I think that kind of centers him and keeps him grounded as far as, you know, being able to manage his nerves and that kind of thing.
Thanks for this, Coach.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Thank you.
Well, thanks to the Evans, both coaches of Dane Evans. Dad and mom, Trevor Harris, you saw there was a penalty call declined, finding Tavares Daniels, who has come up big already in this ball game. And you got to think the Eskimos with 3:10 to go, paramount on this drive, they put points on the board, preferably end zone points. Sending out everybody, empties the backfield, batted down, picked off, Justin Tuggle chugs away, and another gigantic Tie-Cat turnover.
Justin Tuggle, another of those guys who came down the highway from Toronto. He's the guy replacing Larry Dean in the middle of this Hamilton defense. Bit of a slow start to the season, but did a terrific job as the season went on. Second on the team only to Simone Lawrence in defensive plays. This one's tipped at the line. Tuggle, great reaction to come up with the interception and a return into Edmonton territory.
Speaking of dads, how about his dad, a Pro Bowler in the National Football League, Jesse Tuggle. Justin, takeaway, delayed draw. So Dane Evans, great to sit and listen to his parents. When he was 15 years old, was watching a football game from Canada, this foreign country, on television with his dad. His dad saw a picture of a hotel. It happened to be the Banff Springs Hotel, and he said, someday, Dad, when I maybe play in the Canadian Football League, you can come up and get there. And guess what? That's what they did this year.
Yeah, great story.
Who would have thought? There's a chance to lead his team to a championship. Lots of football left inside 2 minutes, third quarter. But the Eskimos have to come up with a momentum turner here at some point.
Nice break to the ball here. Again, reminder, the distance out to that far sideline. You're throwing from the hash mark to the far sideline. That's 41 yards across the field. Plenty of time for the corner, Godfrey Onyeka, to make his break and break up that play.
Mandatory breakup after that pickoff now. Lirim Hajrullahu, 13 times he's kicked it inside the 10-yard line during the regular season. Not this time. Against the breeze. Oh, what a special teams vulture downfield. Jackson Bennett, big tackle. So far, our real Canadian superstar and Superstore game leaders, Trevor Harris, Dane Evans, both of their parents in the house today.
Yeah, of course, leading their teams in passing. Rushing, not a big part of the story, the run game. The way those quarterbacks are throwing the ball, that is not a shock. Tavares Daniels, of course, a Grey Cup champion with the Calgary Stampeders, former Rookie of the Year, showing his playoff experience. And of course, Braylon Addison, guy who burst onto the scenes as a big game performer down the stretch for the Cats last season.
Changing the play, the audible from Harris. Minute 25 to work with a win. Play action, rolls out, Natea J. Rico Murray, the tackle. Rico Murray to Don Unamba's position. Unamba now an Eskimo. So many interesting subplots between these two teams. Ex-players who play on both sides. Second and 3. Savon Smith, chain gang moves.
Well, time ticks under 40 seconds here remaining in the third quarter. See if the Eskimos try to push the ball a little bit with the wind here before this quarter ends. Then typically not a big part of their MO offensively, more of a high percentage, quick hitter kind of team.
Just 5 points scored in the third quarter. Hamilton will have the benefit of the wind when they change ends. They like to use that wind, trying to set their sails for Calgary. A team that has been near indomitable, heading to a fourth quarter with the lead, 11-2 on the season. And again, have not lost here at Tim Hortons Field 2019. Harris, now he stretches, and nobody home, flag down. Likely an interference call based on where this flag is. Greg Ellingson looked like he got jarred away from that route by Frankie Williams. So quarter can't end on a penalty.
There is no infraction on the play. Quarter time.
Jason Moss is losing it. So is Ellingson. And right now the Eskimos are losing it on the scoreboard. We're heading to the fourth in the Eastern Final. Well, we are back in Hamilton. Jason Moss and the Edmonton Eskimos. Head coach went ballistic there after the penalty flag was thrown. Thought there was an interference call. And so there is a challenge. And there will be one more play. If this challenge, I guess, is accepted or the play is... The play is actually reviewed and then overturned. So we're just waiting on CFL command. And it did look like there was some contact.
Yeah, it looked like Williams stepped in and initiated that.
Frankie Williams. So we have an answer now.
After review by the command center, there was defensive pass interference on Hamilton number 37. Point of foul is the 53-yard line. It will be a first down for Edmonton. One more play in the third quarter.
So again, because of the penalty, so one play. And I know it may not seem like a big thing, but it is a big thing, especially with the wind.
Yeah.
You might be able to stretch this out a little more because now the Eskimos are going to have to play comeback in the fourth against what is becoming a stronger breeze from the north. So they get the benefit of that challenge. Again, there was an initial penalty flag down.
Yeah, it's kind of funny the way the whole thing played out, but thankfully it's not the old days of having one challenge win or lose, because it would be frustrating to have to use it and lose it in that circumstance.
So might they try to go vertical here? No, they're going to hitch it out to Ellingson. Behind cover, gets a couple blocks and close to a first down. That will be the final play of the third quarter. So the teams will change sides now. And here are the numbers. Again, just 5 points. That's safety and a field goal in the third quarter. But the significant part of all of this is that wind, and we'll see if it does play out. But the Eskimos still have a good chance in this ball game heading to the fourth quarter. And of course they have Trevor Harris, who has had a few fourth quarter comebacks but needs a big one right now. They haven't had many big plays, the Eskimos, today.
No, and this is the challenge as time becomes their enemy with the fourth quarter starting, that they're They're not really a big play team. As I said, they're kind of a nickel and dime, high percentage, get the ball out quickly sort of team. And now they find themselves needing to close the gap in at least a little bit of a hurry.
This could help in a big way, this drive here. They're now on Hamilton's side of the field. Gobbling up. C.J. Gable, though, was Jagarrett Davis. Guy who is used to finals. 3 straight years in the West Final. 3 straight trips to the Grey Cup with the Calgary Stampeders. Now trying to get there as a Cat.
Tremendous first season in black and gold for Jagarrett Davis. 13 sacks.
East Division All-Star. Number of All-Stars for Hamilton. 5 of the 7 nominees in the East, all black and gold. Trevor Harris, duck, and down he goes.
He ducked the first with Julian Hauser, but couldn't get away.
First Cat sack. Took them right out of field goal position.
You see Hauser coming from the left side, loops in. Harris saw that one coming, dodged him, but couldn't avoid Ted Laurent. Now Hamilton sacked Logan Kilgore 8 times in the 2 games that these teams played in the regular season. But again, the experience of Trevor Harris in terms of processing and getting the ball out, contributing to the improved protection today. First sack of the day, as you said.
Trying to pin the Cats. Pretty good return from Frankie Williams. Tangerine Raptors basketball keeps rolling Wednesday. The Raptors, who lost to Dallas last night, heading home. Magic in town. We'll have it for you. Tip at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN. Starting point of 27-yard line. Trying to close now. The Evans family in the house. RPO, they decided to put it in the gut that time and keep it on the ground. And we'll try to use the clock here. Drain that clock in the 4th quarter.
Offensive coordinator Tommy Condell of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Obviously a big part of their success this season in the development of Dane Evans. Clock management will be a big part of what he does.
2nd and 9, all day for Dane Evans. Fantastic. Fumble football. Edmonton football. Just like that. Luke Tasker, rare fumble. The Edmonton Eskimos. Godfrey Onyeka started that, finished it. Eskimo ball when we come back. Game now with 5 turnovers in it. 2 of them induced by Edmonton's D, including that of a former Ticat.
Yeah, as the 3 Eskimos converge, it's Don Unumba who delivers the hit that pops that ball loose. Wilfrid Laurier product Godfrey Onyeka comes up with the recovery. Onyeka taking over that starting corner spot as the injuries to Money Hunter and Forrest Hightower beset the Eskimos secondary last week.
Eskimos have to find to put this in overdrive, though. Too many drives stalled down in this area. Tavon Smith sets up a 2nd down and short. Both teams almost wholesale changes here. Bring out the big bodies on short yardage. They'll bring Mondo back in. Mondo Sewell right behind Trevor Harris to block for C.J. Gable. close to that first down marker. I want to see Mondo get the ball.
I don't know if this is the time when they're going to start playing around with handing the ball to defensive players.
Boy, what a big body. How'd you like to see that coming at you?
Well, many quarterbacks have over the years, and let's just say it hasn't usually ended well for those QBs.
No, it hasn't. 1st and 10, Eskimos. C.J. Gable trying to establish the ground again, and once again they're going to have to get to the air. Moss tries to design something here. Edmonton team, such a great start to 2019. Sputtered in the second half. Played a great game last week to get here. Needing a huge fourth quarter. And that for Tavares Daniels. Off the mark. Best the Eskimos will do is Sean White field goal attempt. Maybe that was right in the sun. Like Tavares Daniels could hardly see it.
Yeah, take a look here. Ball was on its way out already as he made his break. But there might be a bit of a glare with the visor.
Sean White extend this lead even more. Cut into it, and he does. So White, 28-16. Still alive and breathing are the Eskimos. Time now for the Shaw connection of the game.
There it is. Dane Evans on the move, finds Brandon Banks going down the rail. Second quarter touchdown for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That is today's Shaw connection of the game.
Speed, coverage, control, Shaw, blue curve. Sean White, 3 field goals for the Eskimos. If they could have converted a couple of those into touchdowns, different story right now. Made his last 8 in the playoffs. Hamilton still controlling though. By 12. Jay Langa wrestled down near the 34. Fumble recovery that results in a field goal. Dane Evans trying to bleed this clock a little more.
Thinking Dane Evans would like to have a few more points up on that board to rest a little easier. Just under 10 minutes to go in the football game. Plenty of time for the Edmonton Eskimos, down by just 12.
Marshall. Harry Dean missed him. Slips another and another. What a romp by Cam Marshall. Couldn't bring him down. Little 3 or 4 yard pass results in 18 big yards.
Yeah, great effort here by Cameron Marshall. Running through arm tackles, making people miss. Nice little yards after the catch pickup.
Evans once more. Crossing pattern. And it's caught by Jalen Ackland. Down inside the 30. Big play. Sparks this crowd again. 26-yard pickup. The Western Illinois product.
Yeah, Jalen Ackland enjoying a tremendous rookie season, looking to extend it by 1 more week.
Evans operating now, trying to dial it in some more. And, that's caught again. Brandon Banks putting on a show.
You know, there's that split second from our vantage point up above the field. You see Brandon Banks going down the left hash mark and bringing it across. You see that ball thrown and you're thinking, oh, that's going to be just out of reach. Brandon Banks goes and gets it. Looks like he managed to close the elbows, keep the point of the ball from hitting the turf. Kathy Evans liking what she sees.
Well, like you said, partner, here's a chance for the Cats to move one step closer to Calgary. Kalinich incomplete. 9 passes of 19 or more yards for Dane Evans today.
Yeah, there is no hesitation to go vertical with the football. Here trying to get a little bit of a rub and free up the fullback in the flat. Unable to connect, so it's going to be 2nd and goal from the 5 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Might you go there? Might you take it yourself? Evans coming back as Allison. Flag down. Dane Evans signaling it's against the Eskimos.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Edmonton, half the distance to goal, and a first down.
1st and goal after Don Unumba. Not too close to Dane Evans.
And that's going to bring David Watford into the game. Watch Unumba off the left side. Blow to the head. He was just trying to get his hands up to block the pass. But his momentum carries him into the quarterback. Roughing the passer. Sets the Cats up on the doorstep.
Watford scored the first touchdown of the ball game. Back in at quarterback. Will he call his own number again? Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Touchdown, Hamilton. Might that be the hammer in the hammer?
Shout out to a big one that makes it now a 3-possession game with under 7 minutes to go for the Edmonton Eskimos. Jason Moss knows comeback just got a whole lot tougher. Seven plays, 76 yards, chipping just under 3 minutes off the clock.
Hiralahu. 19-point game. Cats move that much closer to punching their ticket to Calgary and another trip to the Grey Cup. Just under 6.5 minutes away. They can start to feel it in the hammer. Possession ball game. The Cats, the best team in the Canadian Football League. 15-3 record during the regular season. Could win another Eastern Division crown, their first since 2014. And Mike Daly downfield quickly, the McMaster product.
Well, you've got to love it. A guy like Mike Daly, starting free safety here last season. Team decides they want to get a little quicker at that position, go out and get Tunde Adeleke, which means Mike Daly's going to be a package guy on defense and play a lot of special teams. He accepts that role and excels in that role.
Talked about the 19-plus yard passes completed for Dane Evans, only 4 for the Eskimos. The magic they had in Montreal has evaporated this week.
Well, they're playing a different team this week as well. The Hamilton Tiger Cats didn't end up at 15-3 by accident.
No.
Incredibly consistent throughout the season, especially here at Tim Hortons Field.
Second and 10, must make here for Harris. Smothered, throws it away, almost picked. That kind of day for Trevor Harris and the Eskimos. 5:40 to go. Simone Lawrence going to be in Calgary for sure with his teammates at the awards ceremony. Under 6 minutes away from joining all of his teammates in Calgary. Lawrence, his best season as a Hamilton Tiger Cat. Guy who began his career as an Edmonton Eskimo, along with Jeremiah Masoli, traded to Hamilton.
Yeah, one of the great steals of a deal in CFL history. Masoli and Lawrence come to Hamilton. Carson Rockhill and Nathan Kanya went the other way.
Hey, checkmate. I feel like practice, coach. I feel like
Such a different Simone Lawrence.
Let's go.
This season.
I mean,
adversity came with a suspension from a hit. Zach Collaros early in the season. Swinging it out. That's not done yet. They want to put more points up. There is irony that there is a possibility that Lawrence and Collaros could collide again. Should Winnipeg be able to beat Saskatchewan, we'll send you to the great football city of Regina for the Western Final after this one. Right now, looks like the Hamilton Tiger Cats will form one half of that matchup.
Yeah, looking to close it out here. You saw the first down play, the bubble screen to Braylon Addison. He could have run it towards the sidelines, but he just kind of turned it up, and I don't want to say let himself get tackled, but ran into a situation where he maybe gave up an extra yard or two to make sure that that clock kept running. Follow that up with the run to Cameron Marshall.
Lirim Hajrullahu going to try to angle this. The Eskimos' inability to capitalize with the wind in the third quarter really costing them. They're going to add one more here. Single point coming up, bouncing all over the place. Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti.
Well, guys, I imagine that the frustration of the Edmonton Eskimos comes to a surprise of no one. In particular, Vontae Diggs got into it with right tackle Chris Van Zyl, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They were chirping at each other, and Van Zyl, on a very celebratory Hamilton sideline, simply looked at Vontae Diggs, waved his hand, and said, "So long, buddy." Guys.
Well, Chris Van Zyl is known for his one-liners. If you watch CFL Wired at any point, which is a great show, Van Zyl, when he wears the mic, he doesn't lose too many of those one-on-one battles. Looks like this Eskimo team, another crossover team, will not be able to take the path less traveled. That will continue, it looks like, for yet another year.
Yeah, and, you know, so much of the talk about why it has been challenging for the crossover teams. People talk about the traveling across time zones, back-to-back weeks with those games on the road, and so on. But I think the biggest obstacle for the Edmonton Eskimos, simply put, is the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
That has been an obstacle in the way of so many teams this season. Flag down, Harris got knocked down. 15 yards added on here.
Major foul, roughing the passer. And Hamilton 98, 15-yard First down.
Dylan Wynn.
Wynn just below the hash marks. This one came in low on Trevor Harris. Outside that strike zone.
11 sack season for the former Argo. Harris. Incomplete. It's like the last play before the 3-minute warning. And season fast coming to an end for the Why Not Us Edmonton Eskimos. The why not today is black and gold.
Lane just sorting out a timing issue on the sidelines.
There is no place like this place when it gets amped up. Matea J. Close to the first down. Still trying to keep the heartbeat pumping. 3 minutes away, though. The Hamilton Tiger Cats can make reservations for the 107th Grey Cup. Yep, Rod, very good chance. A lot of it had to do with that guy, number 9, Dane Evans. First playoff start to be a winner. Harris dishes it out to Matea J. Eskimos trying to stay alive, but again, 19, 20-point lead. 36-16 now. 3-score game. To go right here for the Eskimos. Again, the slice and dice last week, the dink and dunk. Taking up too much time on the clock. Down inside the 20 now.
And the Ticats will kind of allow those short completions in front of them, knowing the time that it'll take.
Saw Brandon Banks getting a chance for redemption, perhaps. Next week, Harris for Smith. Jump ball, touchdown. 2 minutes to go. Push off here.
Offensive pass interference. Edmonton number 4. This is a 10-yard penalty. We're going to replay the down.
Not yet.
Frankie Williams, man in coverage, didn't seem too ruffled by this one as he made the call right away. There you saw the tail end of it. Here you'll get a better look.
Celebrating. 2 minutes away from a huge celebration here. Trevor. Back to C.J. Gable. Ominous tone set early when Harris threw a pick in this ball game. Then C.J. fumbled. Eskimos down 10 early on and just have never been able to catch up. It's been wire to wire for the Tiger Cats.
And this has been, again, a big part of the story for the Hamilton Tiger Cats this season. Get on top early. Make those other teams chase.
Harris! Down he goes! And so will the Eskimos. They are waving goodbye. Hauser again.
Yeah, Hauser take
timeout. Edmonton.
That DN spot when Adrian Tracy went down. Great spin move there.
Punishing day. So long. As Dylan Wynn. 3rd and 13. Last gasp. For the crossover Eskimos. Full house came to celebrate today. They can do this next week. They're going to party like it's 1999.
That's what they're hoping for.
Last time they won, Trevor Harris is down. Eskimos are out. The Hamilton Tiger Cats can get the plane warmed up.
Jagarrett Davis. He's one of those guys looking for a repeat.
All he does is play in the Grey Cup game. Last 3 years, as a matter of fact. Red and white, now black and gold. Last time they won in 1999, Orlando Steinauer played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Key member of that Ticat team.
Minute 33 to go. It's either going to be a rematch of 1984 or 1989, depending on who wins the Western Final. It was back in 1999.
I can't watch.
Sorry there, partner. But everybody in Hamilton can. Last time, the Cats, Danny Mack. Hamilton won the cup. Then some lean years here in Hamilton. And you know, you think about this team, you think about this city, and you think about Bob Young, the caretaker. Inspired by his brother, his late brother. Big CFL fan, took over this team. They were on the throes of bankruptcy at one time. Took over, took care of this team. Brought this place a new stadium. There is the caretaker. Does not want to be referred to as an owner. And he's taken good care of this team.
Well, he certainly has.
Scott Mitchell in the back. How about the job that the co-general managers have done?
Yeah, Sean Burke, Drew Alamang. Absolutely remarkable job putting this team together. All the parts just seem to fit perfectly.
But again, for a while, the pieces weren't really in place when Jeremiah Masoli went down. A lot of people had doubt. There is no doubt right now who the beasts of the East are. Final 35 seconds. This place is going to go crazy. Davis Sanchez, you've been in this moment. You know what it's about. What's it like down there?
Oh, it's hugging season right now. The last couple minutes has been a lot of head nods and eye contact because it wasn't over yet, but they know what was about to happen after that last sack. Now it's been officially hugging season, and I would say that over my time, surprisingly, the best moments of my time in this league, not after Grey Cup wins, but after division final wins, because it's just a team. The families aren't necessarily here yet, and you also have all night to talk about what we're going to do next week. We're going to the Cup, boys. Division finals weekend or evening is a special, special time, and this Ticats sideline has erupted.
Well, the motto, every man, every play, all night long, has resonated. Orlando Steinauer, Coach of the Year candidate, has been the leader. And Brandon Banks today was outstanding, as he has been all season. So it's either the Blue Bombers, who the Cats last met in the Grey Cup in 1984, or the Rough Riders, with the Cats last met in the Grey Cup in 1989. We shall see in a few hours. Chris Cuthbert, Glenn Suter standing by at Mosaic. Orlando Steinauer, when asked about that motto, where did that come from? Pointed to his heart.
Yeah. And that speaks volumes of the guy that Orlando Steinauer is. You know, you talk about him as the leader of this group. He is a leader that every guy on that team very willingly follows.
This will set off the celebration. Final play. And then it's on to the grave. It's been 5 years since they last played for the championship. It's been 20 years since they last won. The Hamilton Tiger Cats are going back to the Grey Cup. Best record in the Canadian Football League all season. Perfect season at home. Celebrate, Hamilton. You're going to the Grey Cup. Nissan Titan player of the game. Most outstanding player in the East.
Biggest game of the season. Littlest guy on the field. Gets it done. Brandon Banks. Couple of highlight reel catches. 100-yard game. East Division MOP, Brandon Banks is our Nissan Titan player of the game.
Here's Matthew Shinetti with Speedy B.
Brandon, listen to this. You're going back to the Grey Cup. But more importantly, I have to ask you, you have lived with 2014 every single day after it happened the last time you were in the Grey Cup. What has it taken since then to get back there now?
And just hard work, man. This organization come so far, man. We had ups and downs. We had an 0-8 season 2 seasons ago, and then we got a great leader here, Coach Orlando. It's gonna mean a lot, man. We got to go in there. We know what that tastes like of losing, so we definitely gonna be focused on this time. Hopefully third time's a charm.
What will your emotions be like next week, Brandon? I was 15 feet away from you when you thought you had won the Grey Cup and beaten the Calgary Stampeders. You're going to Calgary now. What will your feelings be like that day?
Man, I'm gonna be playing with extra chip on my shoulder. Obviously, everybody know what happened in 2014, but it's bigger than me. It's for the city, man. Look at these crowds and these fans we got. They need a Grey Cup here, man. It's been 20 years here, so we definitely gonna go out there and play hard for them.
And Coach Orlando Steinauer, did it just feel right that he would be the guy who would lead you back to the Grey Cup?
Definitely is, man. Everybody know who Coach is, man. He's a great leader. It ain't got nothing to do with X's and O's. He gets you right mentally, and that what wins football games. Everybody know how to play football. Everybody got great athletes, but when you in it mentally, man, you got an edge on each team. So that's what Coach O do with us, and we happy that we got him on our team.
Brandon, I'll let you go celebrate with your teammates. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
An absolutely remarkable season. What a journey. And this year's Grey Cup will have a shade of black and gold in the final. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats and their faithful will travel well. And again, Jeremiah Masoli not playing down the stretch, out for the season, replaced by Dane Evans, who became great Dane Evans. And Simone Lawrence, last year reduced to tears after his team failed to make it to the Grey Cup. Different story this time. Simone, you're heading back to the Grey Cup game. Here's Matthew.
Simone, I want to ask you about a story. Before the beginning of the season, Mark Washington showed everyone a video of what it takes to play as a Hamilton Tiger Cat. Video of Grover Covington, video of Joe Montford. The way you won today, was that how you wanted to win, the personality of this team?
That's the way Hamilton is, you know. Hamilton's built off of defense, you know. So that's the way Hamilton is, man. Look at this. Fudge, let's go. I just want to go to the Grey Cup and win this shit.
Now let's keep it grounded, because right now, how much work has it taken for you to get back to this moment? How much work since that loss against Calgary in 2014, how much work have you put in to get back to the big game?
Honestly, my first couple years up here in same CFL, I was like, oh, we're going to go to a Grey Cup every year. And it's a lot of hard work to do it. There's so many great players in this league. There's so many great teams, coaches, and everything. It's hard to win up here. So when you got a chance to go to the Grey Cup, you just got to take advantage of it. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in Hamilton. I love you.
We'll see you in Calgary, Simone.
Hey.
Well, the feeling is mutual in Hamilton. They love their Cats. I see Hitch down there. I see the Cats down there, the trophy. I see James Duthie as well.
All right, thank you very much, Rod. Congratulations to the Ticats. Congratulations to Hamilton. This team, this town, in this building, pure perfection. 10-0 this season. To present the Eastern Division Championship trophy, a member of the last Ticats Grey Cup winning team and the second all-time leading tackler, Simone Lawrence just passed him, Rob Hitchcock.
Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate the 2019 Eastern Division champions, the Hamilton Ticats. I want to present this trophy to Coach O and his staff, to the 2019 team. Congratulations, boys. Good luck. See you in Calgary, presented by Shaw. Next week in Calgary, go win it, boys. Congratulations.
Let's bring in the coach here. Orlando, you won 2 rings as a player, 1 as a defensive back coach. What does it mean to you to have an opportunity to win your first as a head coach with this crew?
It's all about the team. It's about these fans coming out. It's about the staff. It's about the quality of the organization that starts from the top down. It means everything. These men deserve it.
You've been around this league for more than 2 decades as a player and a coach and seen a lot of teams. What is it about this group that makes it special?
We got a championship mindset. We got a belief second to none, and we're filled the building with great people.
It's been 20 long years since the Ticats have won a Grey Cup. They'll have that opportunity next week in Calgary.
Thank you.
Hamilton proud, they call it around here. Tiger Town, indeed.
This is a magnificently assembled team. It starts with that coaching staff, Orlando Steinauer leading the way as coordinators. Tommy Condell, Mark Washington, Jeff Reinbold, all great leaders, great teachers who have helped bring this team to this moment. But you look at the group of players that they've brought together, some who have been here for a while. Simone Lawrence, Brandon Banks, fixtures here in Hamilton. Parts they brought in from other teams this year because they knew they fit the mold. You look at guys like Dylan Wynn, Jagarrett Davis, Justin Tuggle, the list goes on. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have been the best team in the Canadian Football League up to this point. From the start of the season till now, they've got one more big step to go.
Next week, they'll try to put a ring on it. Can they? Will they? Will it be the Blue Bombers? Will it be the Rough Riders? Dane Evans will lead the way. Season like this, and a regular season, an Eastern Championship season for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Every man, every play, they say. And now they will play for the Grey next week in Calgary. What excitement in Tiger Town, Rod.